Hello there and welcome to Spiritual How-Tos. I'm so glad you clicked by today. I'd like to begin with a short story, just a very, very short story. When John Owen, the great Puritan, lay on his deathbed, his secretary wrote in his name to a friend, "I am still in the land of the living." "Stop," said Owen, "change that and say, I am yet in the land of the dying, but I hope to soon be in the land of the living." You see, John Owen had a pretty unique sense, a life-altering sense, if you will, of living for eternity. He was living for more than just what he saw here on earth. And in fact, he knew that to die was gain, and to live here was kind of just the act of dying, because what lie ahead is what was in the eternal. So in these videos, as we share with you brief Bible basics on how to please the Lord, today I want to share just a few thoughts, short lesson on how to live for eternal values. Eternal values. Where we begin is right here. We have to begin by understanding that you and me were created with eternity set in our hearts. You see, Ecclesiastes 3:11 tells us that he has put eternity into man's heart. So you see, programmed into your genetic makeup, programmed into my genetic makeup, is a longing for something more. And the recognition that there is something beyond what we see. It's part of that uncomfortable longing and feeling that we have. It's innate in our soul. It's the sense that we long for something more. We feel it. I'm sure you've experienced it. You've had times of just longing or a pulling that says there's got to be something more. I just know there's something more. Or even maybe you've had a thought pass through your mind after you had a big old celebration or an accomplishment, and the thought passes through and says, "Is that all? Is that all there is?" Well, that's that eternal component. You see, we were created in God's image, male and female, created in God's image. And so we, as God, have an eternal component to us. We really do. In fact, I would dare to say we crave, we long to be reunited. It's our spirit longing to be reunited with our Heavenly Father. Matter of fact, 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 4 says this. It says, "We crave for this mortal to be swallowed up by eternal life." There's something that our body craves. There's something deep inside of us. There's a yearning inside of us. Our spirit and our soul are longing to be reunited with God in heaven. Our spirit, the Bible says in 2 Corinthians 5:6, our spirit is homesick to be with the Master. It misses being with the Master. That's why time spent here in communion and prayer and reading the Word and fellowship with the Lord, we feel at home. We go, "Yes, I'm home." But our spirits are homesick to be swallowed up in eternity again. Paul goes on to say this in 2 Corinthians 5:7. He says, "We live in joyful confidence. Yet at the same time, we delight at the thought of leaving our bodies and going home to be with the Lord." So we live today with a confidence that one day we're going to go home to be with the Lord. You see, Paul says because of that confidence, because of knowing where my eternal destination is, he says this, he says, "Then I live now. My life's passion is to please the Lord." 2 Corinthians 5:9. And that's the whole chapter we're going to focus a little bit on today. 2 Corinthians 5. Paul says, "It is my passion to please the Lord." And the reason he's passionate about it is because he knows he's going to spend eternity with the Lord. Well, I would ask you, my friend, what is your passion? What is your aim? What is your goal? What is it that you aim at, that you plan for, that you intend to walk your daily life in? What is that ambition? What is that goal? You see, the Greek word in that 2 Corinthians verse, the Greek word for aim or passion means this. It means to be fond of honor, to be fond of honor, to eager to do, and to be ambitious. In other words, I am fond of honoring the Lord, and so I'm going to be ambitious here in pleasing the Lord. Is that your ambition, to please the Lord? You see, the bottom line is your age is irrelevant. It matters nothing how old you are, but your ambition is relevant. So whether you're 20-something, going to university, whether you're a teenager, figuring your life out still, or whether you're old and retired like me, what matters is our ambition. Our ambition includes where we go to school, where we go to work, what our profession is, how we spend our time, what we choose to prepare for, what activities we value, what actions we take, what deeds we complete. Those all should be in line with our ambition. See, our ambition is what drives us. I do these things today because I have an ambition to do this. It's the end game that I am taking action for right now because of my end game. What's your end game? Is your end game to have a great house with lots of cool furniture and kids that are making six figures? Not saying there's anything wrong with that, but if your aim isn't for eternal values, then what good is what you have here? Seriously. 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 You see, is our ambition, is my ambition driven by eternity and earthly passions, or is it driven by worldly pride? I don't know. So whether it's a job we're doing, a class we're taking, my question is, are we advancing the kingdom with it? Is the kingdom impacted? Is Jesus pleased? Is it, for sure, my goal to please the Lord, my ambition? I'm going to wrap it up by just looking at a couple of points in the rest of this 2 Corinthians chapter 5, because the message is very powerful. Paul says, because we have confidence in our future in heaven, we have confidence. That keeps me in pursuit of pleasing Christ. You see, when I keep heaven in front of me, keep eternity in front of me, keep the understanding that what I'm going through now might suck, but in the end, it's all about eternity, then that makes the choices I make now pleasing to God if they're dealt in eternal values. You see, I can displease God as much as I can please God. But I'm telling you from experience, the more we keep our mind set on heaven and that this is all just temporary, it makes all the difference in the world. And that's what Paul was telling us. Another point we can glean from this section in 2 Corinthians is the fact that it says, because we know we will all appear before the judgment seat of Christ to receive what is due us based on our deeds according to our obedience in faith. Don't let that confuse you. What that means is this: whether you believe it or not, all of us are one day going to face the judgment seat of Christ. All of us. And if I'm living on earth remembering that I'm going to have to give account for all my actions, then my actions better be pleasing to the Lord. Amen? Then my actions I want to please the Lord, knowing that I'm going to spend eternity with Him, then holy moly, what I do with my actions and my habits and my behaviors and my words and how I spend my time and my money and my efforts and my energies, then my goodness, I want to pour into the kingdom. I want to make sure that it's for eternal things, not for things that are going to burn up. You see, because one day we're all going to face and we're all going to have to give an account of our actions and what we have done. Bible says whether they were good deeds or worthless deeds. And I confess, I've spent a lot of time in my life on worthless deeds. But I hope I've spent a good amount of effort and energy and priority on building the kingdom as well, on eternally valued things. And we'll talk about what some of those are in just a second. You see, because if I spend my time, efforts, and energies on worthless things, those are just like the chaff that gets burnt up. If I spend my time on things that are going to last forever, the Bible calls it gold, silver, and precious stones, then it will last forever. And when I have to give account of my life, Jesus will look down the list of things that I have done in faith and in obedience to Him, and there's a reward that comes, because He'll go, oh, look at the gold, silver, and precious stones. Hey, it lasted. Eternal value, way to go. And that isn't what we all want. That's what we all want, of course. You see, only those things that are done for Christ's glory are going to remain. Everything else is going to burn away. So you see, our present actions have eternal consequences. Eternal consequences. In fact, our present actions determine how Jesus will talk to us at that judgment seat. Now, that can be frightful, or that can be exhilarating. Because what am I bringing? What am I bringing to Him? What am I bringing to heaven with me? You say, we can't bring anything with us. Yeah, we can. You see, I can invest in the kingdom of God, and that's going to go to heaven with me. I can lead someone to Jesus, and that's going to heaven with me. I can spend time training and disciplining and being filled up by somebody else spiritually, and that's going to heaven. Those are things that are of eternal weight. I can spend time in the Word, and the Word gets in me, and I live it, and I share it, and I breathe it with others, and that's going to heaven. Those are kingdom things. Those are eternal values. You see, when you accepted Jesus, which I hope you have, when I accepted Jesus, that's the foundation that's laid in my life, the Bible tells us. Jesus is the foundation. That's His gift, and we don't do anything to earn that, not one thing. But He lays the foundation. He is the foundation in my life. What we build on the foundation is up to us. What you build on the foundation of Jesus Christ is up to you. How have you obeyed Him? Have you lived the Great Commission? Have I lived the Great Commission here in this life? Have I reigned over my sin? Have I showed mercy? Have I showed love to others? Have I built His kingdom? Have I showed His bride to others? Have I sowed into His bride, meaning the church? Those are eternal. Have I used my personality and my gifts and my talents and my time and my money and my energies and my effort towards eternally valuable things? Because my life should demonstrate that I have a stockpile, I have a 401k, I have a portfolio of spiritual things that I'm taking to heaven with me. They're gonna last eternally, eternally. I have people I have led to the Lord, and they are going to be in heaven one day. That's my portfolio. Look at, and God will look at the records. The Bible says the books will be open, and I will have to give an account, just as you will. So I ask you, my friend, I simply ask you, because of looking to heaven, because of seeing that we are an eternal being going to spend eternity intended to be with God, won't we spend our energies in those eternal values? Can't we spend our energies, shouldn't we spend our energies towards eternal values instead of worthless things that are of no value? Because anything else won't please the Lord. Thanks for listening. I hope to see you next time. Take care.